Welcome. My name is Nozbusiso Dlamini. Lesson plans are your guide to delivering a clear and focused learning session. They divide each lesson into a series of segments that all work together to create an engaging, concise, and consistent learning experience for your students. So today, let's look at the lesson plan structure, how to use it, and how it can help both you and your students perform better. The first page of each lesson plan provides an overview of the lesson. It identifies the following: the lesson topic and aim, the duration of each lesson, the materials needed for each lesson, and preparation required for your lesson. The first page of each lesson plan allows you to see exactly what is required of you as a lecturer to execute your lesson effectively. Each lesson plan follows the same step-by-step structure. This helps the student get into the flow of each lesson and also assists in helping your lessons flow and remain consistent. The structure outlined in each lesson plan is as follows. 1. An icebreaker that links with the topic at the start of the lesson. 2. A brief question session to check prior knowledge and briefly explain core concepts as needed. 3. A quote based on African wisdom for students to analyze and comment on. 4. A group activity and a skills practice session. 5. A worksheet for students to complete or use for information. 6. A brief reflection and consolidation at the end of the lesson. Each lesson plan will outline suggested activities for each part of the lesson, as well as the suggested amount of time needed for each segment. For ease of reference, each lesson segment is color-coded. Yellow for introductory segments, green for group work, blue for skills practice, and pink for reflection and consolidation. The start of the lesson always consists of 3 introductory parts: the icebreaker, a brief question session, and African wisdom. The lesson plans suggest icebreakers, questions, and quotes to use during these segments, but you can always use your own icebreakers and lines of questioning, depending on the mood of your class or the understanding of your students. It also allows you to shake up the lessons and reinvigorate your teaching enthusiasm. The guide also suggests how to frame the second half of the lesson, which consists of group work, skills practice, and reflection. So, now that you're familiar with the structure, let's look at how the lesson plan will guide you to get the most out of your students during each segment. If you take a look at the lesson plan template, it is divided into columns which outline how to approach each segment. The first column of the lesson plan outlines teaching activities. In other words, what will you, the lecturer, do? Here you will find step-by-step numbered actions that guide you. The next column outlines questions you can ask your students to assess prior knowledge. The third column is learning activities, which outlines what your students will do during the lesson. And the last column gives an indication of time needed for the activity. By following the step-by-step lesson plans, you save preparation time and you save time in the classroom because you're sticking to a structured flow each lesson. Being prepared with the lesson plans also gives you the confidence to action each lesson in a structured, understandable, and practical way. You will find that each of your classes will react differently to each lesson, and it's valuable for you to reflect on the class response and share these findings with your colleagues. For example, perhaps you found the students weren't engaged enough in the group activity. So, next lesson, make the activity more interactive or add in more props like crayons, boards, or paper clips to invigorate your class's creativity. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to each class, so at the end of each lesson, reflect on what worked and what didn't, and use this feedback to develop better lesson plan strategies in the future. Thank you for joining me for this module. In the next module, we'll look more at developing your own lesson plans. We'll also show you how to use the DHET lesson plans as a guideline in creating your own unique approaches to teaching.